Welcome to Deep Dive Daily.
Good morning, Andy. Welcome back. Hope you got your pound of flesh, your justice. I know that yesterday I mentioned on the podcast you had some legal obligations, and just for clarity, Andy was not in the wrong of the law.
Yeah, not like I didn't get a DUI.
Andy was wronged. He was wronged by an evil corporation, and he's using his opportunity to get square. But that said, it was.
You want to hear something? You want to hear something quick?
Of course,
I forgot to mention this.
It was a slow sports day yesterday.
Well, and also, I don't know if you want to rip by yourself again, or we just call it. I'm off Thursday. I never take days off, but I'm going to be off Thursday as well. They are in need of chaperones for basically the last 2 weeks of school. Is like, let's have a pizza party and a skating day and like 3 field trips. And then the rest of the days are fuck off days. Like kids aren't doing anything. So, but this is a good one. It is a young authors, young artists conference that my son will be going to, that I have to go help watch some 10-year-olds at on Thursday. And nice enough, it's at the local tech college, which is like 10 blocks from my house or my office. I even told them, I'm like, hey, you know what I'm not doing? Driving out of my way to a school in a different town to ride a school bus to a college that is right by my office. So I'll meet you guys there. How about that? I'm not riding a freaking school bus ever again, hopefully. But yeah, it will be. I'm off Thursday. I don't foresee a lot of other days I'll be off until maybe a little bit this summer. But yeah, it's half-assing it part-time Andy this week, I guess.
Very cool. Well, this is the kind of week that you want to not really have a lot of responsibilities, because I mean, but as far as sports goes, we went from like everything was happening, so much going on. How do you even cover it all? We need a daily podcast too. The big action last night was the Seattle Storm taking care of the Dallas Wings, holding on for the cover. Not really moving the needle from a drama standpoint, the same way that Game 7 of Thunder Nuggets was, at the same time as Scotty Scheffler is being challenged by John Rahm in PGA.
I mean, I'm sure you enjoyed the outcome, but it wasn't like a good game.
Yes, it was. It was a great game.
Not from a great game. From a neutral standpoint, it was not a good game.
Yeah, if you had no skin in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, happy for you, and my when I joined you on some Thunder, like I need that to win to cover all the other shit I like joined you on. Like, hey, no, Cavs aren't going to win shit.
No, they're not. That's true. No, but it was a perfect game because the Thunder were, they were little bubble guts there in the first quarter, shooting terrible threes, bad turnovers. Like, oh my God, are they really going to choke? And then they settled down. They turned it on in the second quarter, and then they hit the afterburners, and it was just like, yes, perfect.
Hey,
this is exactly what you should do.
You know what? Because there's not a lot of sports to talk about. I don't have hockey takes. I can do golf tomorrow. We can get to tennis tomorrow. Wednesdays is traditionally our club, country club sports. Maybe we should get a little more into squash. Although, hey, you know what I forgot about? And I just found as I was cleaning up the entryway. Remember, I got pickleball paddles for Christmas. And then I realized, that I can't use these for 5 months. But it's finally warm out. I think this weekend I may get my pickle on. But Murray season. Here. So two things, Murray. This is definitely not the time or the place for us to recommend a reputable mover on a podcast out loud live. But if you want to DM, probably just DM Drew. He can. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you could probably point him in the right direction to some people who, we both know people who want accounts constantly. So it's not going to be a problem getting you a name, but I think maybe this is a good topic because I probably a bunch of people that have no idea what Murray's talking about. Murray says, can anyone recommend a reputable mover? I'm trying to get rid of a few of my accounts. Drew, start explaining some of the words in those sentences to maybe some people who aren't familiar with what Murray's trying to do here.
Well, anyone who's lives in a legal state and has really sharpened an edge in a lower liquidity pool, like, I don't know, WNBA player props, right? what you've probably found is that you have a certain amount of money that you can win from that sports book before they say, no more limits for you, Mr. WNBA Sharp. And so they turn you down to where it's not even worth your while to bet that action. Now, that doesn't stop you if you have a viable edge in a market like that. What you need to do is you need to distribute your operation and you need to bet into more accounts. And ironically, the easiest way to do that is to bet into effectively gray market or PPH accounts. If you've never heard that before, what we're talking about is, basically like your country club bookie gives you a login for XYZ dot pph.com or whatever, and you go and you bet there. And typically, if you're originating smaller market stuff like that, and you diffuse $100 bets across 200 accounts, then you're getting the skin you're looking for in a market that's relatively low liquidity. And those accounts don't last long. You tend to churn them, especially if your originated stuff is very, very sharp. At some point you're dealing with a bookie who is like pretty sure that the guy on the other end is a lifetime loser and is just going to fire, at will into, sharp markets at close. And then all of a sudden he blinks and he's got,
he owes that guy $7,000 on WNBA props. He's
what?
like, hey, this guy's been paying me $1,500 a week on average for 2 years.
Yeah.
Suddenly I owe him, and maybe he doesn't blink because he's got a bunch of clients, and it happens. This guy gets lucky. Maybe he doesn't go check what he won on, but he just sees, green number. Well, fuck it. I'm up on this guy. After a few weeks, maybe that's done, but the people who handle these sort of things are more than, obviously they're taking a cut, and they're more than happy to go find more accounts for you and take their cut as you win through those accounts. And then the person who is that lifetime loser, they also get a little bit of a cut, which is awful nice for them because all they're doing is giving up an account and they've been losing for a long time.
Yeah. But yeah, no, there's one name guy at the top of my list. I'll happily either.
Don't worry. Murray's like apologizing here. Don't worry about it. I mean, it's a great little topic of discussion. It's fun, but we can get you some names for
the guy that I'm going to recommend you to. I don't even know his real name, so I could say it out loud, and it wouldn't shock anyone. Anyway, but the point is, a mover is typically the guy who gets the originated action and then distributes it across whatever PPH accounts he has in his portfolio. He does the collecting and the paying, and he takes his cut, and you get your cut if it's your account that you're finding for him. And it's just kind of a very funny way that people who have cornered a niche market ultimately have to scale up by doing it that way. I don't think there's any other choice. You either stop originating that market, or you find a way into a diffuse staking scheme, scheme across PPH accounts.
You don't even have to have some, like we described as loser account of some PPH, some guy's been betting a local bookie for 2 years and losing. Honestly, like you mentioned, that used to be the case. 5 years ago, that's all you would do when you were betting into these accounts for people. If you had some sort of origination, it was all 411s and Ace and Buckeye and just nothing but PPH. Now there's a desire for legal accounts. Now, I don't know if that's what Murray has, but again, there are edges to be had against some of these. They hit you with the ban hammer a lot quicker, so you need to churn faster. But if Murray has some primed or clean legal accounts that aren't limited to nothing at this point, those are absolutely in demand, and people will take those and play on them and move them for you and give you a little cut, especially if you're not using them for something you think you have an edge on. Let's see, they're worth something to somebody. It's something, they're always worth something to somebody.
Yep. Okay, well, that was fun little sidebar because again, don't have a ton to talk about that I didn't kind of at least gloss over yesterday. I mentioned my fares, by the way, Andy, and I don't have any change of opinion on
I
the
was going to say
Eastern and
seven and
Western
a half. What
Conference
do you
Finals.
think? What do you think for the
Yes,
game? Though?
but I do think there's a long tail where the Thunder just absolutely just thunderfuck,
Losing
you know.
4.
No. No, there's a world where they can make life absolutely miserable. Like at them, every matchup, every iteration you can think of like, well, what if they go small? Well, what if they, what if they mix it up this way? Like everything to me on paper, matchup wise, looks very positive for the Thunder against the Timberwolves. And honestly, just the fact that the Timberwolves have gotten here by playing a pretty flawed Lakers team and an injured old Warriors team, like this is such a monstrous step up in degree of difficulty of competition that I won't be surprised if it's a relatively short series.
My feeling is like Thunder 4-1 or 4-2, where let's say it's a 4-1. I have it as like a 4-1 where the Timberwolves cover 3 of the games, maybe 4 of the games, where it's like, Timberwolves lose by 6 again. Timberwolves lose by 4 at home, and it's like,
see, I'm thinking of it's like the other way, like they lose by 20.
Well, no, and I see the one they don't, they have a game at home where they're 4-point dogs, 3.5, and they lose by 30.
Okay.
There is one, I think there's 1 or 2 of those in there as well. But just if they have a game where they do the thing where they turn the ball over 20 times, it's, it's not a team you can do that.
You just nailed the biggest.
It doesn't matter how good your defense is.
This is low hanging fruit, and everybody should see this. If you look at the data, the Thunder are unfucking believable at not turning it over and creating turnovers, and the Timberwolves are very loosey goosey. It's like this could get, like this is the kind of game where, and as Andy knows, basketball is a game of runs. And this is the kind of series where it's, 54-52, blink, 68-52. Like that's kind of the way this could go. And so I think the Thunder come through cleanly. I think the Thunder, I don't now. If the Nuggets had won Game 7, I think the Wolves would have absolutely handled that team, like particularly in the absence of Aaron Gordon being at full strength. Like that was a brutally flawed Nuggets squad that got to Game 7 because they are champions and they had a top 5 player of all time offensively leading their offense in Jokic, and so they come through. I think the Timberwolves probably beat them. But the Nuggets the Thunder getting that win over the Nuggets in Game 7, to me, that was the title for them. If they don't win at this point, I'll be surprised. My fare for them is minus 230 that we talked about yesterday. So I'm about 70%. I was
going to say, so there's a 28% chance you'll be surprised.
It's true. That's very true. Plenty of examples of 28% coming through in the NBA playoffs this year.
This round.
Yes, just last week. Yes. Yeah. So on the other series,
I didn't listen. Yeah. I didn't have a chance. What was your fare for New York, Indy?
I have been doing series prices now since 2014. I looked it up. So this is my 11th year of lining every series of an NBA playoffs. I have never come closer to 50-50 ever. And this is wildly close to 50-50. My series price is literally plus 100, minus 100. You have to go out to another decimal point to, you have to go out. Oh my God. You have to go
10,000th place.
You have to go way out to break the tie here. I'm at 50.07 for Indiana, 49.93 for New York, which is crazy. And yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to, just does New York play well or do they play poorly? Because they kind of played pretty poorly against the Celtics in games 1 and 2 and still got wins. They played amazing in Game 4, which was the clincher for them. Obviously Tatum gets hurt, but the Knicks haven't played very good offense this playoffs, period. They've been pretty sloppy. They've really leaned heavily on Brunson just being a hero and doing everything. Meanwhile, the Pacers right now have just been a complete machine, absolutely crushing machine in terms of efficiency. And every one of their guys is playing at their peak of their season right now. So I think the Pacers probably win. I played Pacers plus 140. That's actually the only real serious finals stake that I took, this Pacers to win the series. And it's not even that big of an edge. It's a coin flip. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's very nostalgic though for people of our age, isn't it?
Of course.
I was saying this.
Yeah, Reggie in the Garden. Yeah,
Reggie in the Garden. Spike Lee, God, the Spike Lee commercial with Regina during the lockout or the strike or whatever. Regina, where's your game? Regina, yelling at her. Oh my God, that's maybe one of my favorites. But no, it's funny too because I was like, oh, "Fuck Knicks fans," because they're loud and obnoxious, and that's something as a Midwesterner and my temperament, I don't love. But the more I thought about it, man, it's been a quarter century for these guys. It's not like Patriots fans where all your teams have won championships, and you can ask my D because you can't whine about anything. You have 10 banners in the last decade, you guys. But New York, man, it's literally been since I was in high school, I think. Because when was those series? That was 98, 99. When were those good Pacers Knicks series? It had to be at least 25 years ago. So I'm gonna pump the brakes. I'm not gonna cheer for them because I don't give a shit either way. I'll cheer for you and the Pacers, but I hope it's a good series because it's very fun.
Do you remember the last time Knicks made the finals?
I don't.
There was a
John Stark.
There was a headline stealing incident that happened during those finals.
Was it 9/11, man?
No,
that wouldn't have happened during that. Yeah, in September. I mean, the NBA playoffs really drag on, but not like that. OJ?
Yeah, the
Zelensky?
Bronco chase.
Oh my God.
They broke into the Bronco chase during Houston New York Knicks finals game. Yeah.
I remember watching that at my grandma's house. And I would have been at my grandma's house after wrestling practice, waiting for my dad to pick me up, meaning I didn't have a car yet. So I'd have been 8th or 9th grade.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, you're talking 98. Or
there was a Spurs Knicks finals in 1999, actually. I take it back. But the closest the Knicks really did come was that. The Knicks lost 4-1 that year. That was also a what do you call it year? That was a strike shortened season that really changed.
It'd be cool for the NBA.
1994
every season should be a strike shortened season.
It would be better for the players. Holy shit!
If 50 games plus the tournament. I don't mind the in-season tournament. It's kind of fun. 50 games plus that. And those games don't count towards standings. That's just an extra added bonus, whatever. I don't have thoughts on hockey. I'll have thoughts on golf tomorrow. What's that leave us?
One Canadian team left. All you got to do is all you got to sweat is the Oilers right now. The Stars look pretty good though. So
Stars look good. That'll be a really good series. Yeah. It's crazy.
We could, after all of the potential iterations of the fact that we could end up with a rerun of Panthers Oilers finals was pretty wild. That was a really good series last year, and that would be a fun finals this year. But I would love Stars to get there for lots of reasons.
Yeah, I think Kane Stars is my ideal one. I mean, the best one is Oilers. I think Oilers Panthers. But
yeah, rerun.
I will not cheer for that.
Did you enjoy Quail Hollow?
You know what? It was decent after the first day. It had a little bite after that. It was good. I love people complaining about the scoreboard on day one. Like, buddy, there's so much golf left. My betting was horrid. I did so bad. I had a chopped Corey Connors top 20. It's about the only thing that came through. I was going to tweet out, we're on to the 3M. I know it's not next week, but that's the next time I should bet golf.
I love that.
Yeah, it was. It's been. I had a outright with Minwoo about a month and a half ago, and it's been tough sledding from here. So I got to revisit the process. We talked about that downswings. It's like you with the NBA. You just get so bummed out. You become literally clinically depressed on air when the betting goes, even for like 2 weeks when it goes bad. And I know how you feel because golf has been rough for a bit. So I'm happy
not a
to be
robot,
Columbia.
Andy.
No, I'm happy to be a Columbia.
I'm not a robot. You want to know a fun?
Place.
Here's a fun story from the Bet the Process Calcutta, and then we'll wrap it up here. Jeff had John Rahm.
Sure.
John Rahm was, of course, solo second, competing for first. The way the structure in the Calcutta, the payout pool, first place got 187K. Second would have been like 150, right?
Yeah.
Rahm, I believe the bid was 33 Rufus coin for Mr. Rahm, and he in solo second, he's getting 150 back.
Boy, he A-Bared.
He A-Bared him. Jeff famously had A-Bear too. Yeah, solo second, he ejected to whatever he got, tied eighth, which was a 16K payback. So he puked 120K. Yeah, 134 over those last holes, throwing it in the water at 17.
Golf is fickle.
But ultimately, Jeff had the highest ROI player of the tournament, which I think was Harris English.
Norin? Oh, English backdoor his way hard on Sunday.
He shipped best final round. Yeah. And he got tied for second. So English's ROI was absurd with all the different pots he scooped.
Yeah, did not see that coming from him. He's very hit and miss for me.
Yeah. Jeff also had Siwoo Kim, who hit a $10,000 hole-in-one. Stole it from Rufus. That was fun.
Explain that real quick too, because that was, I mean, we got a few minutes. That was one of the most fun Calcutta rules I can think of.
It was such a great one. So
because I was confused. You were explaining to me that the hole-in-one pot was the set. I'm like, does it get chopped with every hole-in-one? Like
that's the way it was.
10%, yeah, and then 2 hole-in-ones, each one gets 5%. Whatever.
Yeah.
But
the way it's set up is, the payout structure is pyramid at the top for top 12 golfers, and then chop up a bunch of side pots so that are 1% and 2% a shot. The hole-in-one side pot is 1% of the whole pot, and they used to have it split depending on how many players made a hole-in-one. If 4 players made a hole-in-one, then you got 0.25% for that hole-in-one, and they wanted more of a sweat, so the rule was changed from split to the last player to get a hole-in-one gets the pot. So every time there is a hole-in-one scored, it's a steal. It's a steal. And Eric Cole, who had the first hole-in-one, got it stolen by Siwoo Kim with a 250-yard hole-in-one, which was absolutely awesome. And then the sweat was from round 2 to the close. watching hole 14 every single drive to see if someone was going to drive 14 on a hole-in-one. And ultimately, Siwoo Kim held on. So that was fun.
Very fun. Yeah, I love that rule. That is, they need I can't think of it. Maybe you guys can hit us in the comments or bring it up tomorrow. There needs to be a rule like that in college basketball, March Madness Calcuttas. Maybe it is like, biggest win wouldn't work because
buzzer beater.
Buzzer beater would be good. You wouldn't be sweating biggest win because it would just certainly be in the first weekend.
Yeah.
And, nobody's going to win in the Elite 8 by 58 points. So biggest win doesn't work. Buzzer beater's fun. That's a good one.
Yeah.
If there is a game-winning shot at the buzzer, that's a fun steal because the game should be closer as you go on. Fuck, I like that. We might have to run a Calcutta
steel pot
this March.
I would run. Yeah, I love the
March is coming right up. 10 months, guys.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it. Good job, man. I will catch you tomorrow, and we will be able to hopefully cover the dominance of the Thunder.
Thunder
and the under for me.
That's on.